Hey everybody, it's been a minute. It's been a minute since I have posted anything here. Especially, by a minute I mean like maybe 2 months, especially if we're talking about a mediumistic collective message. I haven't posted one of those in a little while. And I really wanted to make this video to talk about some crazy shifts that I have been having, and also just kind of the reasons why. Haven't made a video in a little while, and kind of what I'm going to be doing, about to be doing. Just stay tuned, because this is about to get pretty interesting. At least for those of you who, feel like ascending into crazy, weird, spiritual evolution type deals is interesting. But at first, the reason that I wasn't really posting anything was just actually because I was just really, really flooded with sessions. And it might look like, I am not doing the sessions anymore, but actually, because I took the unlisted playlist off of my channel, but actually that is just because guides were just all of a sudden not wanting to come through in any other way but private anymore, and then I was actually guided to just take that whole playlist off of there to make room for just another playlist with just some client feedback. Anyway, and that's actually kind of tied into this big shift that I am going to be talking about here, because guides actually were not wanting to come through, as it turned out. I didn't understand that. But it was actually leading up to this big shift that I had, and now my readings, my sessions have completely changed and shifted in a really, really drastic way because of a couple of shifts that happened within myself. And then guides were just not wanting to come through in that way anymore, and actually like prepping up for that, leading up to that. All of a sudden they just were not wanting to come through publicly anymore, because now actually the energies of the sessions can be a little bit intense for people, whereas before, not really, not so much. So where do I begin here? Okay, so actually there were two shifts here. So the first one was actually a dietary shift that happened. I started to feel more and more, I'm not going to get into like the specifics of it, or exactly what I mean by dietary shifts, but I will just say a drastic lightening of diet, which I did not do on purpose or consciously. I was not intending to do it, but all of a sudden it just felt like I was lightening. I was raising, my vibration was higher and clearer. I felt clearer, and dense things just started to feel like they were too dense, like they were pulling me down in a heavy way. I was having negative physical reactions, and also just my body was just no longer feeling like I need that. And pretty like drastically and suddenly I just shifted to feeling like a lighter sustenance is really what serves me now, and what is really serving my my body now, and my energy body as well. So that started happening, and that was something to kind of stay with, and kind of took up a bit of my mental and emotional and certainly physical space. And kind of, some of my time, just because, it was kind of spent just kind of figuring that out a little bit. So getting to this next shift, that was already kind of drastic for me. But then actually what happened was, it was like my guides, as all of our guides are, right? My guides are very aware of my vibration and what it can hold and what it can do and how it's expanding and morphing and changing and what's affecting it and what isn't, and all of these sort of variables that we have within our energy bodies, and the way it changes and the way it shifts, things that I'm not aware of or you're not aware of. Your guides are aware of those things. They're very connected to you on like a deep subconscious level, even with your body, your physical body. They know what it needs, they know what to do, and so you just really have to trust. You have to trust the guidance of your body, and that's what I did with this transition, and then the health problems that I was having, and just the negative, reactions that I was having to certain things, all of a sudden just went away. I got better. I felt lighter and I felt clearer. I felt that I was sustained by something lighter, and still do. So yeah, this brings me into the next shift, because the more that started happening, my capacity to hold certain vibrations shifted, where all of a sudden I could hold a lot more. And then there was one night where I was doing a session for a client, and I've had this client for a very long time. A lot of my clients I've had for a very long time. A lot of, my regular clients, my regulars, I've had for a very long time. This was definitely something different, for myself and for the client. This was definitely something out of the blue, and kind of in a way, just really different and unique. Drastic, just a really drastic switch all of a sudden, where so I'm doing this session for this client, and normally this was a clearing session, and normally when I do clearing sessions, well, it takes a lot of work. It takes a lot of time to clear out entities, to remove them, especially to do it in the right way, because often you will have this entity that is just like kicking and screaming the whole freaking way. Okay, it does not want to come out. It does not want to leave. Once it does, then the client is like, oh wow, this problem in my life is like not there, right? But like when it is there, it wants to stay there. So you don't want it. Okay, because the thing it's causing really sucks. Obviously, it's a negative entity, right? But it wants to be there, and so often it would take me sometimes an incredibly long time to get rid of these. I would have to have like just hours and hours of work sometimes to get rid of a single one. I know how crazy that sounds, but some entities were like that, because they could be maybe wrapped all around the person, and I had to kind of like delicately remove all of this, and make sure the thing doesn't, kick and scream and, bite or claw or whatever, because entities have like different appearances, different forms that they are taking on, and they can actually rip through a person's auric field, which is why I would have to really handle it properly and know what the freak I was doing, and make sure that my client was safe, so sometimes this would take me a lot more time to do it properly and make sure, I didn't end up with like holes in the person's auric field or something that I would have to heal and repair or something afterwards, which could end up taking even more time. Whew. All right, that was a mouthful. But yeah, it would take me quite a while to remove some of these things, okay? And that's just, that's where I was at. That is where my sessions were at. Lifetimes took a very long time to clear. Entities, all of these negative things. They didn't want to leave the person. It would take me a considerable length of time sometimes to remove them. And so, sitting there, all of a sudden, council, so my guides are on the council with the assistance to Earth, okay? So that's, I have 7 guides that I channel on this major council of beings that are not my guides, okay? So, basically, all of a sudden, in the middle of this session, that was taking some time, they just said to me, do you know that this ability that you have thought is an empathic ability actually isn't? And the thing about empathic abilities is they kind of happen spontaneously. It's not something that you can easily control. And even if you do learn to be able to control it at times where it's like, oh, let me empathically pick up on something on purpose. Sure, yes, you can get advanced enough to do that. But even so, it's still a spontaneous gift. Even if you learn to trigger it purposefully, it's still going to trigger itself, and you're still going to be picking up on things all the time because it's just part of your subconscious. It's a way of picking up things, picking up information, and you need to have it running all the time. You have to, it's just one of those psychic abilities that helps you pick up information wherever it is, so it's spontaneous. So basically, there was this ability that I was categorizing in that, okay, and I'm gonna get into the real specifics of what this ability is and everything in a different video, because I don't want to take a ginormous amount of time with this one video. All right, but basically they said, look, you've been categorizing this in the empath category, and it's not. It's not spontaneous. We have been triggering it this whole time, and what you think it is, it totally isn't, okay? And if you would learn to control it, which you can do now because you are able now to hold certain vibrations like within your auric field that you weren't able to before. If you'll learn how to master that, then these clearings are not going to take you so much time. Basically, so would you like to learn how to do this now? And, of course, I was like, hell yes. And literally in the middle of this client's session, they sent up this kind of charged energy up through my solar plexus and going up into my higher chakras. And then, but I didn't understand what it was. I didn't understand that that's what was happening at first. I just kind of felt this energy that felt a certain way to me before I even understood what was happening. And then they basically said, can you repeat the feeling of that? And I said, I can try. Can you do that again? And so they sent this feeling up again. And then I basically, not knowing what it was, I basically just tried to mimic it. And the second that I did that, all of a sudden, ever since then, again, I'm going to do another video where I talk about the specifics of that. But ever since then, I have been able to feel certain vibrations so clearly. When I would emit this charge, all of a sudden, it connected me to everything that I needed to feel for that session in order to remove it. And I did not have that awareness before. I was not able to so consciously be aware of the things that I needed to remove. Like, I could feel them, okay, in like a psychic way, in like a mediumship way. Like, I can feel my guides, but not in this way where I'm like clearly feeling the whole like outline of their body and where they are and cords they have to the person, okay? And ever since then, I have literally needed a fraction of the time to do clearings and then even readings. Readings that were taking me, like Actually, I'm just going to insert a little clip here where I basically say how my readings have been going. I had 2 hours with this one reading, just give you guys an example. Usually that would be 6 to 7 pages. So I sent up this charge, and it just connected me to the person's guides in this way where I just started receiving this just uninterrupted stream, this like flow. That's how the readings happen now when I'm using this. But just, yeah, I'm using this as an example, this 2-hour one, because again, to just like, I know for sure off the top of my head, like the amount of pages that I would get, 6 to 7, and I got 14. 14 in 2 hours. I have never come anywhere near getting that amount of information in my life. So this was a huge adjustment for me, obviously. And so again, if you want to understand a bit more about the unique ability that this is, because it is, I'm not saying it is utterly unique to me and I'm the only person that has it, but I've never come across this anywhere. So if you would like to hear more about it specifically, what it entails specifically, how it works, because I honestly, hey, maybe one of you have, and post a comment if you have, because I would love to hear about that. I would be very curious if there was somebody out there who had an experience like this. And then obviously be sure and watch the other videos so that you understand the details of what this is. Because this is definitely, I'm just saying unique because it's an ability that I've never come across before. I had never heard of this until my guides explained it to me and showed me how to use it. So it's been a huge adjustment for me. So I'm gonna have a few more videos coming out on this channel just to explain certain things, to explain that, and a couple of other things. And then I'm gonna go back to doing some mediumistic collective messages, and we'll see how that goes after all of these shifts. So namaste for now.